Hello, hello. What is up, everybody? OCD Mikey here for another edition of the Mikey Show, live and in living color, where you can ask me any sort of questions you want, make any comments. We can talk about whatever we want to here. And as always, I will give it to you straight and direct, and you will get my true, honest opinion. And I'm not paid by anybody to be a good boy. So I shan't be a good boy. um, Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it on another beautiful Sunday, the last Sunday before Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is going to spend a great Thanksgiving with family and have some great food and some great company and tell everybody they love them and give them a big hug because Thanksgiving, you know how holidays are with family, man. They can get out of hand. They can certainly get out of hand. Mark Dory says, "Good evening, Mikey. Looking forward to hearing about the $1.2 million system I went to listen to." Yeah, I will get into that in a little bit. We'll let the queue chalk up with people. Hey, Mikey, hope all is well. All is well, Wes. I am feeling great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, you crazy tribe members. What's up, David Pab Pab Pabor or Pabor Pabor, I would guess. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Mikey, where do you buy your silver foil from? From the Silver Foil Fairy. Hello, Mikey and Tribe. What is up, Steve DeHardy? Hey, Mikey from the rainy ass Northwest. You know it, man. It is. That's why I hear it's rainy up there all the time. Still haven't been there. Isaac, my friend, I was hanging out with today. We went on a ride, by the way, today. Isaac is going to Portland next week. I'm jealous, man. Langlet's Leathers. They got some killer. They've got a real historic motorcycle leather place and I will, when I come to see you guys in Portland, I will definitely go to Langlet's and probably pick up some cool riding gear. Klein Minis. Those are awesome speakers. I think Shane's got a hold of some. He'll probably join us in a little bit. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Tribe. What's up, Ted? Ted has some Fisher and Fisher 570s, kicking ass with the 570s. And the new 570s are already sold. And I've got someone on the 670s, and the 670s might be gone shortly. Gallbladder is tested tomorrow. I get another scan. But so far, so good. Just got my Macintosh noise canceling headphones and soundbar. Cool, man. We are happy for you. Am I back to 100%? Pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. It really feels like it. If I'm not, I'm close. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Tribe. Listening to the Doobies this evening with Yoda. Nice. Oh, yeah, Yoda. I know what Yoda is. Yoda's a good strain, man. Hey, Mikey, are you going to replace your custom Danny Ritchie sub towers with Rel or some other subs? No, I will replace it with speakers that do not require subwoofers. That's what will happen. Yeah, it was a good pronunciation. Okay, Pabor. What? I don't even know how to guess. Is that Eastern European? Pabor, or is it? That would be my guess. Or maybe I would guess Eastern European. I have no idea. I have no idea, man. That's like David. David is a Bible name. Yeah, let us know. Anyways, should I go into the rig that I saw, the $1.2 million audio system that Mark Dory is talking about? Mark, by the way, got my XR650L, and he's gonna resurrect that puppy. It's got so many aftermarket parts on it. Oh my God, dude, you're getting a bike with all the tasty goodies on it. It's just been sitting though. Mark's gonna turn it around. Yes. So the $1.5 million, $1.2 million system. Okay, so I went to a system the other night, and it featured, and it was at the local dealer, and it featured $375,000 Wilson Chronosonic XVX. It had D'Agostino Relentless 800 monoblocks. So the speakers are 375,000. The monoblocks are 200,000 for the pair. It had a Dan D'Agostino preamp that was 150 grand. And then it had a the new DAC, the new DCS DAC that is $267,000 and 200 pounds. It's in 5 pieces. Yeah, it sounded crazy. Really, really good. But, you know, I was talking with Isaac today because I met Isaac down there and we listened to it together. And it in some respects, we also were together at another in Texas at this Wicked Avant-Garde. I think that room was $500,000, something like that, 750. And it had the Avant-Garde Unos and all the big subs and CH Precision, I think he had in there and everything. And these systems are so overwhelming that it is a wonder. How would I deal with this on a consistent basis? Is this something that I would be able to handle all the time? Because it's intense. It's like, it's not analytical, but it's just so over the top that it's probably like driving in a Lamborghini or something like that. Like, do you ever tire? Could you have a Lamborghini and drive it every day? Or would you tire of just the super intense ride all the time? Because that's what this was, a super intense ride. He played a couple songs. It was very adept at doing human voice. So the human voice things that he would play, it really felt like a ghost was in the room. And he played this song that I normally I can't stand the song because they use it for the ASPCA, you know, like and they show pictures of starving dogs and shit like that. And then they play that one song. What is it, like Angel's Wings? I can't remember how it goes right now because I have a different song stuck in my head that is not that song. And I'm only recalling that other song. But whatever that song was, you know, with that woman singing, I think it's not Nora Jones or Eva Cassidy. I can't remember who it is, but nonetheless, it struck me in the heart, like in the heartstrings. I had to actually hold my breath. I went because tears were coming. You know, I had to totally hold back the tears because I was like, oh my God, like it struck me right in the heart. He played a couple songs like that. He knew what songs to play to hit you in the heartstrings. And that they did. You know, I was really overcome. I felt the emotion immediately. Immediately you're thrust into emotion. Which is amazing. Then we played some other things, and I put on a test tune of mine, Pucifer, Mama Said. And that song has some strong bass in it. And at that point, it was my choice for the song, and I was able to control with the volume control. And I turned it up a little bit louder to really kind of feel it a little in a more visceral, overwhelming way, but it got too woolly in the bass. So I had to turn it back down a couple clicks to bring it back into focus. And so what I realized at that time, what it seemed like, at least on that song, was it's very sensitive to volume. You know, one click too many on the volume, and it could get out of balance. The mix was wrong then. It was just too much bass at that point. So that was the only sort of drawback I saw to it. Was it would be nice to, if you pay 1.2 million, and this could be the room, very likely, because it's a big open room. But if you pay 1.2 million, I want something that goes louder than I'm willing to go, okay, without breaking up and overwhelming me, being perfectly clear and without any distortion, louder than I'm willing to listen. And it should go all the way up, like into danger zone, without clipping, and being clear and just beautiful. It got out of balance. We needed to keep it in the nice window of focus which is typically systems are like that. Volume is like a focus knob on a microscope. You come out too far, it's hazy. You go in, it's hazy, but you get it right, perfect volume. And then there's the ideal volume usually for each rig. But there are systems that you can just crank all the way up. Like my big rig was like that. You could crank it all the way up, and it just kept getting more and more and more intense. And it didn't break apart, and it didn't change its balance. It stayed linear in its response, and you could get it very, very, very loud. So let's see, Sarah McLaughlin. That's what it is. Sarah McLaughlin, you know, yep, you guys, everybody knows the song. Hi, Mikey and Tribe. Was just listening to Allman Brothers live at Fillmore. Oh, that's a classic one. This Philly Joe used to do now what's that? Statesboro Blues. That's how I think it starts out. It starts out Statesboro Blues, and this guy from Philadelphia, he was an old pagan biker. And every morning in Venice Beach when I lived there, he'd open his front door up and crank Statesboro Blues every morning. Like that's how we woke up. So we would hear Statesboro cranked every morning, and he'd be cracking a Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, and he'd drink PBRs all day long. Philly Joe, we call him, because he was from Philadelphia. A real character. He was right next to the lot, the empty, it was a junkyard lot, and Jonesy, the old black dude, used to sit there all day long and drink and just be right in his little lawn chair, and he had a little teeny trailer that he'd hang out. And this was like Venice Beach when I first moved out to Venice Beach, and it was great, man. We had all these characters in Venice when I went there. So that's my story about that. Yeah, Angel, that's it. So I can't normally stand that tune. Sabatone, Primo Victoria. Not sure what that, probably a song. Oh, horns. Hi, everyone. Loving my new AA DAC. Oh, there's Kurt, baby. Right on, man. Kurt rides a Harley, man. He's up in Maine, right, Kurt? Are you in frickin' Maine? Or are you in, dude, or is it Maryland? Mass? I can't remember. I know he's up northeast, right by the water. Loving your new AA DAC. Mikey's the real deal. Great dynamic range, and female vocals are beautiful. You know, I just got a call today. I should call up Gil and see if he can. Gil, another guy I just sold. Kurt, I sent your AA DAC along with Gil's, and Gil called me up and is like, dude, I can't believe this DAC. I had 4 guys over. They all freaked out. He's like, it's killing it. And he said the same thing. That's so funny. He said today I had to get to vocals, and that's where I really could tell the difference in this DAC. He said, it was a lot better in everything, but the vocals blew me away. That's funny, man, now that you say that. You think you know Philly Joe? Yeah, totally. Philly Joel? Philly Joe. Yeah, what was his name? Joe Coyle. I remember his last name, Joe Coyle. Coyle. If you pay $1.2 million, why not get Karma or Peak Consult speakers? I would say because you don't want them. When you got 1.2 million, you can get whatever you want. So maybe you don't want Karma. Maybe you don't like the look of them. Maybe you don't want Peak Consult. Maybe you don't want Magical. There's plenty of speakers up there, you know. So 1.2 million. I mean, you know, the funny part is like, okay, so you're entering a conversation about like contemplating what you would get for 1.2 million when it's fantasy. It's like talking about, like, you know, banging a movie star or something like that. Like, it's just, you're talking, it's a waste of time. Like, the conversation is a total waste of time. It would never happen for you. It would never happen for me. It would never happen for any of us in the conversation. And it's something that I've talked about before is, you know, these guys bring these big audio systems to the shows and show them off. And I'm like, who is it for? It's not for any of us. It's fantasy retardation level. and nobody can take it serious. And so why do you do it? And the only thing I can come up with is they do it to big dick the other dealers. It's an intra-dealer big dicking contest. Let's see who can show up and be more flamboyant and flash more money to appear as though we have more money and we're doing more sales than the other dealers. So they big dick each other and we watch the sword fight. And it is useless for us. I submit that the $1.2 million systems at the audio shows are fucking useless for the regular person, the attendee. It's a useless thing for the attendee. It's not serving the attendee. It doesn't do anything for the attendee. All it does is give them something they're never going to have and show them fantasy world that you can't even wrap your head around. It doesn't even make sense. And it's a waste of time, but they still do it. That's why I want to coin a term for that stuff. To denote that it's crossed the line and now it's something else. Now it's not, has nothing to do. And I don't want to, let's do it right now together, shall we? Let's come up with a name for it. I'm going to ask audience participation. We got 100 people watching. We can come up with a name. We're not going to call it audio jewelry. That's too obvious. Someone told me one that was really funny, which was Fraudio. I love that. And it was Matt from Matt from Mendocino County. I'll give him props on that. Called it Fraudio. I was like, that is funny, but I don't think there's really fraud with it. It's just expensive shit. So I wouldn't call it Fraudio, but we could call it, it's called a fantasy circle jerk. Steve DeHardy says, that's exactly what it is, a fantasy circle jerk. But we got to come up with something that we call it. Let's coin a term right now for what we call that stuff. We could call it, I mean, fantasy audio is too silly. I mean, we want to give it a little bit of a kick, you know, with our name. Our name wants to be a little bit pejorative, I think, you know, so we kind of, our name gives it a little bit, we make a little fun of it. It's kind of silly. So a name that denotes something that is kind of silly and overdone, embellished, something that is embellished and overdone and kind of silly. Opulent audio is just being too nice. Let's see if we can come up with a name. I'm going to ask the crew. We got, again, 109 people. We should be able to come up with something. Hey, Mike and Tribe, how is a used TAD DA100 for 5K? How are TAD DACs? I have no idea, man. I've got no idea. I've never had one in here. I haven't been able, but TAD is known for speakers. They're not known for electronics. They make electronics, but I think that's just to kind of go with their speakers. But they've, as far as I know, they've never stood out as having electronics that stand out in the group of electronics, but their speakers definitely stand out in the group of speakers. New York. Oh, Kurt, you're in upstate New York. Okay, cool. Got it. What are your thoughts on field coil drivers? Super cool. I have some Feastrex in the other room. And I have Tungar power supplies. So I've got the best field coil. Handmade in Japan. I've got the best power supplies for them. I still have yet to put them together and listen to them. I might just sell them, but man, I've got collectible, highly collectible, super desirable shit, but I just don't use it, you know? Bose. It's called a fan. Yeah, we saw that. Okay. Mike, tip of the hat. I noticed I learn about cool hi-fi products from you. Then years later, they get glowing reviews from other YouTubers. Example, Nat Dupes, Jeff Rowland, 625, AG Dianian. Yeah, I find the stuff in its early stages. I'm on it, you know. I find the stuff before everybody else does. And then comes around and people listen to it. And then they're like, yeah, man, it's super awesome. I'm like, yeah, man, I was on it. I was on it a long time ago. Audio foolery. That's close. We're getting close. Audio foolery. Let's think of a single name for it, a single word. Hey Mikey, sorry I missed you in Buckhead this week. Yeah, Harsha was supposed to be there. Did you go buy a watch, dude? I went over there. I looked at, I didn't want to buy any dress watches, man. Ignore audio. Ignore audio. Okay, so like ignorant audio. Something more that denotes like a luxury product that is like just a total fluff job. It's just like, it doesn't have integrity as real audio equipment. It's more so a show of acquisition. It's like big game hunting, right? It's like a trophy audio. How about that? There. How about that? Trophy audio. I like that. Trophy audio. Tell me what you guys think. Try hard audio. Right, exactly. Poser, but not really. You're not you how can you be a poser if you got millions of dollars? But it is funny how rich people try and play certain things. I was watching a thing, and it's not all rich people. You can't put them all together. And rich is kind of a funny name anyways. It's totally objective, or subjective rather. Um, um, they were showing this town in Mexico that was, what is it called? It's down from Cancun. Tambor, whatever. It's a bunch of expats go there. It was a cool place to go, surfer town. You used to be really hard to get there. It took forever, and cool people went there, old hippies, whatever. And it became popular. And when it became popular, all the rich people started coming, movie stars, whatever. And then other people that were wealthy that bought up properties and put big properties, big houses right on the water and all this stuff. And everybody wears these like beat up clothes, like right. You would never wear nice clothes there. Everybody has kind of these shaggy, chic sort of clothes. And these boutique stores have popped up that make these shabby, chic clothes, and they're expensive, but they look old and used. And it's just totally hilarious. The people go there and then they feel stupid wearing their nice, whatever, Prada and whatever they're wearing if they're wealthy, right? And so they go immediately to get the local to look like the people that are there. So they buy these clothes that look all tore up and worn out, and they pay a premium for them. $100 a piece for these things that should be $10 a piece or whatever. And it's just funny, and that's how try hard comes in with folks that are posing. They have a bunch of dough and they're just trying to fit in and be cool. It's like the people that go to Burning Man in their private jets and have these $1 million RVs and air conditioned RVs and all that stuff. It's just kind of funny. But I mean, maybe I would do the same thing if I was loaded. So I guess Audio Pharma. That's funny. I like trophy audio. Tell me what you guys think. The trophy audio. Great Poupon audio. Totally. Gaudio, there's a good one. Alex, dude, that is good. Gaudio. Oh, I like that. Okay, so Alex, Gaudio is up with trophy audio. Gaudio, I like that. That is good. Abstinence audio, never get it. Right, exactly. Fantasy audio. Different streaks for different freaks. That's for sure. I go on the Voxative website and drool often. Voxative is actually quite affordable. 30 grand for a pair of speakers. The ones that I saw at the show in DC, they were stacks, man, with subs on the bottom, and they were only 30 grand. So Gaudio, that one's so obvious. It's right in front of your face, but you just don't think of it. Gaudio is great. And trophy audio. I love these conversations. Right on, man. That's what we're all here for. Fraudio is fool's gold. Okay, there you go. Okay, so it's not fraud. It's just meaning it's like just you think it's something that it's not. 70K a pair of drivers. For what drivers? Some crazy, ridiculous field coils. Is that what you're talking about? Some things, yeah. Some of them get ridiculous. Extended compensation audio. That's funny. Soul Note. Well, you just keep dropping names out there, man. What do you want? Yeah, Gaudio. Jimmy got it too, man. Jimmy's in on Gaudio. Yes, Zenith on my wish list. Yes, yeah, they're cool. I don't know if I want a German watch, man. I'm kind of a little hung up on it. Maybe is Along and Allange in a German one, or what is the other one? Allange or FP Journe. One of those that I think might be German. I would rather have less more expensive watches than more inexpensive watches. Opinion on AccuPhase amps. AccuPhase is a whole ecosystem. AccuPhase is a whole ecosystem. So it's hard to just, I don't have an opinion on just the amps. I have an opinion on the company, and it's cool stuff, man, and it sounds great. Anytime I've ever heard the AccuPhase, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Audio Note. AccuPhase, Japanese high end, man. That's what it is. Very well made. The amps, the ones with the big meters, those things are badass, bro. It's great stuff. It's Japanese, you know. So it's not raw, unbridled power. It's like refined and very tasteful type sonic. It's great stuff. AccuPhase is good stuff. There's nothing I can say about AccuPhase that is not good. Gaudio, yeah, I know. Gaudi, man. Tropio. Psychotropio. Trofeo audio. Jimmy's onto something. Gaudio. I know, man. And it wasn't Jimmy. The first guy that said it was Alex, man. Alex, we got to give. Look, man. Gaudio is getting support right there. Alex, you might have won it. Shell Audio. Trophy is good too. Yeah. Placebo Audio. Right. Yep. It's got to be some catchy that we can. Playa del Carmen. Tulum. There it is. Tulum is the place. Tulum was exactly the place I was talking about. We saw a whole documentary on Tulum and how it just got overridden by, and now they're making, did you see the train? They're bringing in a fast train through all that shit. It's going to ruin the Yucatan Peninsula, man. There's a train that goes all the way around to all the Palenque, all the ruins, man. You're going to have a bunch of freaking Chinese tourists, man, clogging up Mexico, you know, with cameras. It's sad, man. I mean, but you can't stop that shit, man. Something becomes popular like that, and then they develop it. And I was wondering who's developing that big ass in the middle of Mexico, man. They're mowing the rainforest and putting a trough right down the middle with a train, with a high-speed train and a highway. And I'm like, who's doing that? Who's paying for that? Is that the Belt and Road, you know, initiative that you see everywhere? Like, man, they did that in Costa Rica, where my gal is from. You just see these wicked new freeways, and you're like, the Chinese do it. They put in all sorts of infrastructure, and then the country owes them, and they're indentured to China because of they just can't afford to pay it back, and then China owns their country in some way, shape, or form. Gigi Lecoute, yes, man, JLC right here, Polaris. And I'm thinking about getting a reverso, man, but I still have to decide if I want a manual wind. I guess it will be kind of interesting to see. It's a lot more. It's the thing I like about it is it's a intimate involvement with your timepiece when you have to wind it all the time. But I'm thinking when you don't wear it, then, I mean, you're constantly setting your time, no? Unless you wear it every day. If you don't wear it every day and you set it in your watch box, you know, when you pick it up, granted, it's going to be out. Time's going to be wrong. And almost every time you go to wear it, you're going to have to reset your time. It seems like a pain in the ass. I guess you have to do it with these too, unless you get a watch winder box. But I hear those are just, you know, it's kind of iffy if you really want those things or not. Audio spam, no. Bling Audio, that's what it is. Bling Audio, but I like Trophy Audio too. It's like Trophy Wife, like Trophy Acquisition, right? But Blingy is part of that. Stereo Nord. Are you in Sweden or Norway? Soulless Audio. Yeah, right. Hey, Nick, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Christmas ideas for a significant other. Oh, we're tossing around Christmas ideas. I don't know, man. What do you do? Something thoughtful, man. That's the thing. It's got to be thoughtful. It can't just be something that you can just go buy. But maybe, you know, if you know what they want, you know, maybe they want something I don't know. I might get my gal a watch. I've been buying watches, so I kind of have to buy her a watch too. But she is really low maintenance. I have got a beautiful, loving Latina woman who is like totally low maintenance. Like she whips me every now and again, right? I get pistol whipped, but that's just in a Latina's nature. But other than that, she's low maintenance. So I could get her flowers and a kiss and she would just be happy. So, but yeah, what are ideas? What's everybody getting their wives? Rhinestone audio. Yeah, no. Flamboyant obnoxious audio. FOA, FOA. On Class D amps, are linear power supply generally better than SMPS? It's a good question. Everybody thinks that linear power supplies are better. And in the case of Alberto from AGD, he made one with a linear power supply just so people would shut up because they always, oh, you need to make one with it. So he made one and he told me, he's like, dude, it measures the same. It doesn't measure any different with the linear power supply. But some people want to feel the big, heavy thing. The switching mode power supplies, if you do them the right way, are far better in every way. But people will still argue for linear power supplies, and they think they know something, and it's another whole discussion. Is end users thinking they know what's good in a circuit, or what's good for any particular circuit? They really don't. At some point, the discussion went to the end user. Like you don't have that in other technical things like cars. Do you go in and be like, well, it really shouldn't be, like my Volvo that I just got supercharged and turbocharged. Am I tripping out on that? It doesn't have, that it's both supercharged and turbocharged. Do I want to know what kind of turbocharger it is? Do I go, oh, well, I need to have a Garrett. I can't have a whatever Gretty or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? It's like it's in our hobby. For some reason, somehow the end users think they can talk about the circuit and think they know what's better for the circuit. And in a funny way, it's how we take advantage of you if we want to. We can just we know what's the popular thing. Let's say I squared S. Okay, we want to sell them a DAC, put stupid I squared S on it, and sell them an additional clock, sell them an additional Uberizer, whatever the hell, a thing, and just an anything, outboard shit that you can plug into it, certain caps. We could just say, oh, uses WEMA caps. This is how the Chinese market, WEMA caps. I saw a thing the other day. I even might have it here. Red WEMA caps. They even say a color, which is like, you know what that tells me? When they say red WEMA caps, it makes me think they are black. What do you call knocking them off? They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're knocking them off. They're it's with a C. I'm having a brain fart. Not copy, but like they make the black market fake WEMAs in red, and they say red WEMA caps because they're going to make their shit out of red plastic and it's going to be a fake WEMA. And then you look and then all you see is red, and then you go, oh, WEMA, and you don't even think for a second if it's counterfeit. That's the word I'm looking for. If it's counterfeit. So no, Class D amp, the linear power supply, it has nothing to do with that. You need to judge a Class D amplifier on the whole circuit. You can't judge it on just the power supply, because otherwise, and like I said, because you guys get involved in it, we could take advantage of you. So what I mean by that is I could get a cheap shit ass Class D and then put a toroid in with it, a Class D module that I paid $10 from China. And then I could put in a $15 toroid, and I could make it really cheap. But if I lead you to believe that Class D amps with a linear power supply are better, then I can just make a cheap shit thing with a linear power supply, and you'll go, oh my God, it's a Class D with linear power supply. Those are totally supposed to be better. I read it in a forum, you know, and then I'm taking advantage of you because I know that the fad is. I've been scanning the forums and watching to see what the lemmings think is cool, and I watch the fads, and then I just make my product based on what you guys think is cool. Whether you think it's R2R DAC or whether you think whatever you think it is, I just make it based on what seems to be the popular narrative at the time, and then I change it in a year because typically the forum discussions, things are fads for 1, maybe 2 years, but never over 2 years. By then, something new is a fad, something new is cool or different or whatever. And people that market, smart marketing guys, we know that, and so we make shit up and we put it in there, and then we have our shills go into the guys that are in on the forums that you don't know work with us, and then they tell you how great something is. Oh my God, have you tried a linear power supply with a Class D amp? I just tried, and then they make it popular because you think you're talking to a peer and there's no vested interest from that person saying it's just some guy telling you about his experience. So then, you know, and it catches on, and man, I know this because I've had people want me to be part of their scam. You know, they said, you make the cables, we'll handle the AudioGone forum part of it. You just make the cables, we will handle the guys that are going to talk about it. We're going to give them some, they're going to tell everybody how great they are. These are the Pied Piper types on the AudioGone forums, the guys with 5,000 posts that everybody thinks are experts when they're just nerds that sit in front of the damn computer on AudioGone for the last 10 years, 8 hours a day. It's a whole sham, man. And that's how we run. That's how we run hustles on you guys, is we get you to think things like this, that linear power supply is better. So all these euphemisms, these things that you hear, beware of every single one. You need to go listen to it for yourself and judge what do you think. I mean, so much of our hobby is mental masturbation on forums and things like that, of you trying to figure things out, and you're doing everything but buying and listening. It's just you're jerking off mentally. Just buy something and frickin' listen to it and find something that's good, or just trust somebody like Mikey. You just had somebody come on here. People ask anybody that's bought from me, what is the result of my recommendations? I kill it every single time. People tell me how great the shit is that I sent them. So you can, that's another option instead of you buying and listening all the time, is just find somebody that you can trust. It doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody else, as long as you think you can trust them, and then they can lead you, and you don't have to waste all your time trying to figure this shit out. But sitting and having discussions about it, but not buying and listening, you're wasting your time, because you're going to have discussions as to whether or not or linear power supply is better for Class D, and everything is a recipe. Every circuit is a recipe. Every piece, every product is a recipe. So you can't put it on the power supply. You can't say just because it has that power supply it's better. It doesn't mean that, you know. And a lot of you think that it does. You think like Sigma Delta DACs are not as good as R2R, which nothing could be further from the truth. But somebody made it a fad on some forum somewhere that R2R is the shit to have, and then everybody thinks R2R, and it's that whole fad is started by, and you guys don't know this, but by a company that makes R2R DACs. So they create the whole hoopla, and then they sell the living piss out of their product, and then it peters out in a year, and then they make something else, and they make it a new thing, a new vacuum tube, something or other, a this or that, or a power cord with a toroid in the middle of it was one of the deals that they made, and that was remember that company, Core Power Technologies, man. They made a power cord with a toroid in the middle to make balanced power, and they shilled it on AudioGone forums, and they sold the living shit out of it. And then they just abandoned the project after the sales died off, and then they just did something else. And it's crazy. I wish, and after watching this, it pissed me off. So I come into the market as the black sheep. How do I get over there? Over here. I got to do this in reverse. I come into the market as the black sheep, because I'm ramming my head into the industry, into the establishment, and showing you guys behind, and they don't like it, man, when I tell you what I just told you about how we hustle you in the forums like that. It's just, that's how it's there's so many different ways to do it, and it's like we know how you think, and we know that we know how to market to the way you think, and we know how to make things popular on forums, and I couldn't participate. I'm like, why do I want to hustle you guys? You guys are my buddies, you're my buyers, so you are my friends. Other guys in the industry that are sitting here competing with me and then laughing at the products that we make and whatever, they're just co-conspirators. They're not my people. What have they ever done for me? You guys are what do things for me. You buy from me. So you're my peeps. I'm loyal to you guys. And why would I want to hustle you? If I just do you right, you're going to tell everybody, and then the word's going to get around. Mikey's the shit, man. He's got the good shit. He's got a lock on the good shit, and he never leaves anybody in the lurch. If he makes sure that you're taken care of, which is probably my strongest feature, is just making sure you guys get exactly what you want and not just walking away. Hello, Mike. Sorry I'm late. I just watched the comedian Derek Edward here in my hometown. Oh, that's cool, man. Was he funny? IWC, great stuff, man. I like the pilot. Full audio. There you go. Yeah, but it's not really for fools, though. It's for the wealthy, and they could be really smart. It's just the way they buy. But my point isn't that it's for dum-dums. My point is that it's not for you or me. It's for elite people, right? It's for the chosen special people, that have hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And maybe billions, right? If you're spending 1.2, I'm guessing you have hundreds of millions. And that's very few people, and it's not you or me. And it doesn't mean they're fools. These people could be absolutely smart. They could be the smartest people you've ever met. So fool doesn't say it right. I think trophy audio or Gaudio. Gaudio is probably going to be it because it's one word. It says it in one word, Gaudio. Fellow YouTuber Thomas in Stereo is following your Virastar footsteps. He's building affordable but high quality hi-fi gear with parts sourced 100% in North America. Would you ever review it? No. What I will do is I will build my own, and I'll go head to head with him and beat him. I'll beat him at it. I'm better at it. I'll bet you I'm better than Thomas is. That's what my game is. My game is kicking his ass, making a better, cooler product, and selling it for less. That's my game. My game is kicking ass and taking names. I don't review shit. I kick ass. So that's my thing. Bell & Ross is cool. Yeah, I'm not into Bell & Ross. I think it is pretty cool stuff. I tried it, a little too big for my wrist. I like square, so I wanted to like Bell & Ross. It's kind of cool because it kind of looks like a wall clock, sort of. Bell & Ross did not win me over. I went and listened to, I went and tried it on, and I just, watches are like, you put them on and those things say mine. It just goes mine or not. It's like with audio. I walk into a room and I listen and I'm just like, yes or no. It's the same with a watch. I put it on and I'm like, yes, mine, or no, not me. And I didn't, Bell & Ross did not win me over. I'd still check it out. Viagradio? What are you trying to say? Like Viagra, like boner audio? That's funny. Tefudo. I don't know what the hell's that, man. Hi, Tribe. I'm Dutch and working in high-tech Netherlands. Karma Audio did. Oh, this guy. This guy's the guy from Zwolle. So, you know what? Mark Levinson said, you're fake, brother. I talked to Mark Levinson. He said, I don't know anybody named Spike anything, and there's one man in Zwolle. Japanese Macintosh. Yeah, that's probably what it is. AccuFace. AccuFace was founded from Kenwood's original designers. Oh, cool, man. So it's got some long history. AccuFace is Class A, a little warm sounding. Yeah, I'm sure it can be. So you team it with, you could team it with the proper speakers. Have I listened to Infinity IRS? I have not. I know that Paul likes those. I think, doesn't Paul have those from Paul McGowan? Ritz Audio. There you go. That's kind of like, being nice. I still like audio, man. Troll Audio, almost. Not quite. Gaudio for the win. I know. I think it's pretty good there. That's probably it. EL84 with tubes. I don't like EL84s. They're too small, man. It's a headphone tube. Audacious Audio. There you go. Audacious Audio. Gaudio for the win, I think, man. Taylor Swift Audio, guarantee win in sales. Yeah, except it's not a guarantee win. Yeah, I mean, that stuff sits there. It'll be interesting to see when it disappears. Are Class A amps worth it over AB? It depends on your speakers and your listening taste. Don't they heat up the room like tubes and much higher electric bill? Yeah, if you're worried about things like electric bills. Endowment Audio, yeah, or like entitled Audio or something. EL84 and horns. Pigeonholed Audio. Pigeonhole listening. Poserphilia, yeah, totally. It is. Very good research in vibration and electronics. It's hot in the Netherlands and Germany. Karma technology is now also used in our chip industry production of wafers regarding vibration. Huh, that's cool. That's really good when you can get into other markets, man. Voxative is into she does alternate energy, green energy for electric cars. Wolf Watchwinder, get one. Wolf is cheap though. Wolf is cheap stuff. There's another one that I like called what's that shit? It's made in, let's see, I'll tell you what it is. Wolf I won't buy. It's too cheap. It is called, oh man, man, I text this guy too much to know. Let's see. Here it is. It's coming. Report of London. That's the box I'm buying. I'll spend $1,500 on my watch box. I'm not going to buy a $300 watch box. I won't do it, man. I got it. Going to have $100,000 worth of watches in it. Taylor Swift is a good one. 5K for a concert. That's crazy. Yeah. Wes. At Byron B, he's not a reviewer. Danny at GR likes Thomas's big tube amp, and others like NRD. Yeah, there's a little posse with those dudes, man. They all like each other's stuff. They got their little thing going on. That's cool. It's not going to be what the tribe brings, brother. The tribe is going to bring a much bigger hammer. What do you think about those Altec Lansing amps? Were 350 AliExpress amps? Yeah, I saw that. Let me and thank you for bringing this up. Because let's okay, so what he's talking about is he's talking about Mike Lavorna at Twittering Machines. Okay, so Mike Lavorna from Twittering Machines went into the Altec Lansing room, and he spent a lot of time in there. And he came back from the show, and he wrote up all this great review about how beautiful the amplifier sounded and how great the room, and it was so wonderful, and he wrote all this shit. And then someone showed him an AliExpress amp that looks exactly like the one that were in the rooms, like the chassis is the same, right? And he takes down all the other reviews, all of the wonderful review. He takes it down and then puts up this other thing that shows a link to the AliExpress amp, and it's not $350, and I'll tell you why. But essentially, what it is it's somebody going to the manufacturer and saying, "Ooh, I found where they're made." Well, okay, so you could do that with any piece of audio gear. Why is it just done with this guy's stuff? So there's a couple things. This is a big thing, actually. We could do the whole discussion here about what Revelry just brought up. Because first of all, why did Mike Lavorna turn on the guy when he found out where the manufacturing was done? If you went direct to my manufacturer, you'd find something that is, made, there's not as much layers of distribution in what I buy, but typically anything, if you find where they're manufactured, like let's say Borison speakers, the $11,000 speakers, if we find where they're made in China and we got all the parts together, and even if they're assembled in Denmark, but they're made in China, and we figured it out, it would be like 1/4 or less of what they're selling for at $11,000. So why is it a surprise when you find the Altec Lansing amps and you just found a number that you think is the retail of the price of it when it's really not? So let me explain this. Okay, so on this ad, okay, on AliExpress, where you see these amps that look like the Altec Lansings, and they're $350. Why are they $350? Because they don't have tubes. So that's the first thing, Revelry, you need to do is you need to go to that link that Livorna provided, and you need to add tubes. That's now going to turn it into a $495 amp, okay, pair of monoblocks. And then you need to add shipping from China. The shipping is $500. So now you've got a $1,000 pair of amplifiers. And he's selling them for what, $3,500? So you buy something for $1,000, you give it to your dealers for $2,000, your dealers sell it for $3,500. Okay, that's the way everything works. Okay, this is no different than anything else in the world that is bought and sold, made overseas and sold over here. So it's really no different. So him putting that thing up and trying to like make you believe, see, here you come saying it's a $350 amp, but you did not even do your homework enough. And I'm not pistol whipping you. I'm just trying to show you guys how we hustle you using the media. Here's another way. He just puts up a thing that shows a picture of amps that look like the Altec Lansings. You don't know if it's the same power supply, and it's not. The cheap versions use switching mode power supplies. The ones from Altec Lansing use linear power supplies, okay? They have big toroids in them. Also, the ones that are Altec Lansing, he removed the mute circuit, so it's cleaner power. He used different caps, blah, 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 whatever. But they're still going to be close in price. So yeah, maybe, and if you go to AliExpress and you add the tubes, which the Altec Lansings had tubes, you add the tubes, you add the shipping, so it's $1,000 before you pay your import duty tax, before you warehouse it, before you do any sort of marketing. And so, yeah, it's $1,000 cost, and it's sold for $3,500. Totally typical. It's no different than anything else. So Livorna putting this shit up and trying to throw the Altec Lansing thing under the bus and saying he doesn't trust it, and after he went in and jizzed his fucking pants over how good it sounded, it's just looks so bad. Total bad form. He didn't even call. I spoke with the Altec Lansing guy tonight because I sent him that link and said, look at this shit. He said, I already know. My PR guy sent me it earlier. And he's like, the guy didn't even call me. He sat in the room. He came after hours. He listened. He loved the sound. He wrote all this good shit about it. And then when he found some manufacturer in mainland China selling it on AliExpress, do you know how sketchy AliExpress is? Buying shit on AliExpress. I saw one feedback for that amp. And the guy said, I received the amp, and he shows a picture of it chewed up on the faceplate. Like it's totally damaged in shipping. And he's like, but whatever, I'm keeping it. But it was chewed up, the edge of the faceplate. So that's what happens from AliExpress. You get shit that comes chewed up, no warranty. What are you going to do? Send it back to China to get warranty work? They don't even speak English, bro. So so there's value in the fact that you've got a middleman or a buffer between Chinese fuckery and your listening experience, i.e. the Altec Lansing dude. So if there's a problem or a warranty, he's going to send you another amp. It's just going to be taken care of on the US level. You're not going to have to go to China like you will if you buy it for $1,000. And then maybe it shows up with the chewed up front faceplate. And, so at some point, it's like, where do you draw the line? These and for Livorna to go and throw him under the bus after listening and loving the listening, He got caught with his pants down. He didn't do his homework. The first fucking thing I asked the guy when I went into the Altec Lansing room was, $3,500. This shit's made in China, isn't it? That's the first thing I did. Evidently, Livorna didn't think of that or didn't whatever, and he just said the great things because it sounded great. I even told you guys, oh my God, this sounds great, but I don't sell shit made in China. Let me show you guys what this thing looks like. If you like it, you could buy it and you get it, for $3,500. Or you could go and try and buy it from a picture. And this is the tricky thing, man. Just because the picture looks like the same chassis does not mean it's the same amplifier. You have to understand, China will make 15 different guts for the same chassis. They have stuff that they sell in their own market, which is the cheapest possible shit. They have stuff that they sell in European market, which is a little different. Than they have stuff that's sold for the US market, where they claim red WEMA caps and, all this shit, Europe things, European caps and whatever. And they pitch all this shit to try and get you to buy it. But so it was really it's bullshit, the whole thing. And it's put in the media. And so it's not the same amp. It's not the same amp. We could get them, open them up, look inside. It's going to be the same chassis, very similar chassis, but it's not going to be the same amplifier. And it doesn't have all the costs realized with it. So you need to add in all those costs. So it's not a $350,000 AliExpress amp. It's $1,000 AliExpress amp. So, and AliExpress is a thing that allows people to buy direct from a Chinese, mainland China manufacturer. They take their little teeny cut, whatever they take, 10% maybe, and then they send it to an American, but you don't get any sort of real warranty. And the stuff comes misrepresented, mislabeled. Hopefully it's the right voltage. It's not as easy. It's not like you would think, It's to make you think that it's easy, and they just never come the way you think. Gag audio. Yes. FP Journe Elegante is a solid choice. Yes, man. Would be like a kind of like a when the time comes, something like that. Sly Stallone is selling his expensive wristwatch. Times are tough when, yeah, I guess, man. Or just maybe he's sick of it. I saw, what's his name? I was in a watch store that same day that I went to see that Hi-Fi. And he had a, what's his name? That guitarist, John Mayer. John Mayer has, I guess, is into Rolex. And so they have a John Mayer green dial. This guy had a gold Daytona in there. I was holding it in my hand, $70,000. I was like, Jesus, man, really? I guess some of those things people don't even wear. They just put them in their vault. Silly. Mike, how come your entire front wall isn't diffusion like the two doors? Wouldn't that sound better than a brass resonator? I don't know. Any plans to treat your rear wall? That's actually my front wall. The rear wall, no, not really. I might, but I'd have to go into the stud cavity in order to do it, and it's really not needed. I can make that room sound sick without doing any treatment on the rear wall. And the front wall, I may put something there, but again, it's not necessary. It's based on sonic, and people come and my goal is to have them listen to the best audio system they've ever heard, and I was able to consistently do that with my big rig. I will redo it, and it'll just be, people come in and it'll set their standard. They'll be like their reference, they'll have a reference established. And it'll be for 250,000, not for 1.2 million. And then I'll have all other stuff all the way down to like 27 grand or 25 grand. Did work for ASML here in Netherlands, the only high-tech chip machine in the world. So some audio technology sometimes makes it into the most advanced chip producer machines of the world. Okay, great. Mike, I always wanted to ask you, do you think FM frequency modulation tuners can be considered an audiophile source if when using high quality tuners and full signal strength? I have no idea, man. Anything can be considered an audiophile source if you put it in front of an audiophile system on the back end. You know, sure. I mean, I heard cassette tape at the show being used as an audiophile source, and it was every bit of an audiophile source. It sounded great with the because it was on an audiophile rig. I'm from snowy Sweden. Okay, man. Sweet, dude. I've got a Volvo and I love it, but it never has to go in the snow. Do you still sell Fisher and Fisher 470M? Yes. It's not on the 11 stereo website, just the 470. Yeah, the difference, and I'll have to put that on there. 470M is going to be it's an option. Actually, that's the only way I order 470 is with the front firing woofers. I don't order it with the side firing woofers. Arrogant Audio. Yeah, we got that. Counterfeit. Yep, that was I was thinking. Clone. That's another one. Clone. That was, yep. Ego Audio. Yep. Smell my finger, mother clucker. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yo, bro, listening to you while driving back from Savannah to Nashville. Epic invite track weekend. Oh, sweet, man. What did you ride? You were out there on the what? What were you on the track with? The new quad pre and power amps are made in China. They have been given a great review. Yeah. Yep, that's corporate right there, man. If you hear they're made in China, you know it's a corporate entity. OCD Hi-Fi question: do you know of a Danny Ritchie type person in SoCal? Someone that will upgrade your existing speakers with better components? No, why don't you do it? Or you could just take them to anybody that could solder, any TV repairman, any, guitar amp repair, and just say, I just want just R&R, remove and replace my caps with some higher grade shit. And then you could even provide the higher grade shit. Concocted Audio. There you go. Concocted. Wow, that's a loaded one. Concocted Audio. That's funny. That's funny. I'm proud of you, Charles. That's good. A good regulated SMPS has virtually no ripple. Yeah, and it's more stiff too, and it's totally more efficient. It has like a PSRR, like what is it? No, the power factor. It's nearly perfect, and doesn't need coffee can size caps to meet current demands. It's also way quieter, properly implemented. Yeah, totally. Good evening, Drago, checking in from Evanston. What up, D? Arrogant Audio, yes. Totally agrees with Mike. Good designed SMPS is better than the old school linear. It is. People just like the heavy shit. They just want it heavy. Assuming 88 dB speakers, can you talk about choosing between your 3 amps, AGD, Audion, Donizetti, and Nat's entry level? 88 dB, you want the Donizetti. That's just the beefiest one out of those 3. Donizetti is going to throttle it the best. It's going to control it the best. And then AGD, Audion still's the little guy. It doesn't have the big power supply. Donizetti has massive power supply. Gaudius, ostentatious, ostentatio, flamboyant, showphonic, audacious, acoustics, Gaudio flare, sonic extravagance, resonant excess, flare audio, audiovoyant. Yeah, man. That's pretty good. What did you ask, ChatGPT? It's like it just spit out, man, all that stuff. End result is nirvana. That's what you want. When I'm putting together a system, I don't pay too much attention to measurements. Good. I'm not measuring it. I'm listening to it. Exactly. It's the bottom line. Is there an option to run the AGD amplifier with the LED tube lights off? No. You just get the one without the tubes. They make ones without tubes, and they cost less. Klein with Viola Labs, don't laugh. Klein with Viola Labs. Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty sick. AA DAC is way more analog sounding than my R2R. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, the AA DAC is very analog sounding. Opinion on Dartseal and FM acoustics amps. Overpriced. Here is an expanded list with even more sarcastic flair. That's the directives he gave it. Be more sarcastic, ChatGPT. Echo chamber of excess. Audio files folly. Gaudy hertz. Gaudy hertz. Prestige decibels. Flamboyant fidelity. Show off acoustics. Yeah, I think Gaudio. Gaudio or trophy audio. Both of them are interchangeable. Paul Hester, okay. Totally agree with Mike. Good design. SMPS are better. Yeah. See, Grim, MU1 and MU2. These engineers have made the modern SMPS silence like my wife in a dark forest. You have some pretty damn cool forests up in Netherlands, man. I went to Oranjewoud, if I said it right, Oranjewoud. Damn, talk about old ass enchanted fairy forest, dude. I tripped out. Maybe it was because I smoked a little of that frickin' Amsterdam herb, but actually it was from Zwolle where we got I bought a couple little thing of joints. We smoked a couple tokes and we went through the woods, and oh my God, man, the birds sing. I recorded it. I'm like, I couldn't believe the bird songs. I'm like, they sound like they do not sound like American birds. And it was just amazing, amazing, amazing forest experience. We went walking through the forest. It was the best, dude. I was expecting gnomes to come running out. It was like total enchanted forest. It was so cool. What is your take on Focal Electra 1038BE? I have no idea, but I don't like Focals typically. And what amplification would be good for them? Class A, or like Luxman or AccuPhase. Someone just mentioned that. That's a good one. They can sound a little hot, and yeah, you think? They're harsh. They're harsh speakers, man. The metal tweeters are murder. So that's why I don't like Focals. I just get another speaker. That's my recommendation to you, rather than trying to make it work. Just get a more forgiving speaker that works with more amps. You're always going to be searching for a soft sounding amp. Maybe a Pass Labs Class A might be good. You need to find something soft. Assuming 88 dB speakers in a smaller 11 by 13 room, can you talk about choosing between your 4 amps? I already did. Donizetti. Yeah, Donizetti. The Roland or the Roland 555. Either one. Either one. Donizetti or Roland. Donizetti is beefier. Donizetti has 250 watts. It's Roland is 150. Hey Kemper, busy night for your session. Shoot from the hip like always. Always do, brother. Just shooting from the hip. I think Paul sold his IRS. Okay, that's cool. Gaudio wins. I think Gaudio wins. Yeah. Sound by Gaudio. Exactly. Hey man, what's your thoughts on Sim Audio? Petered out. That's what I'd say. I think Sim Audio was once a great product. It was super cool. Costas and Lionel. That brand was just a smaller brand. It was cooler when it was smaller. And then it grows and it becomes more corporate, and it just gets kind of petered out, and you start to see it at like, Best Buy. What are those things called in the Best Buy? Hi-Fi buy, Magnolia, or whatever. I don't know if it's there, but it becomes a mainstream product. So Sim Audio, I think, is kind of petered out. It's not. It's like NAD, or one of those brands that kind of, or what was that other one? Rotel. Like it's gone the way of Rotel. In my opinion. I think it's probably a little bit better maybe than Rotel, but it just used to be much cooler than it is now. Snobdio, snod instead of audio, snobdio. There you go. Sonny, I sold Celeste Audio from Sim Audio. They make the Moon line. Yeah, Moon was the only one that was worthwhile. Mikey, what's the going price of the Fisher & Fisher Klein monitors with stands? $3,600. And I don't even know if I'm bringing them in. I honestly don't feel like it's fair for me to order them and tie up their time selling me shit at that price that I turn and sell for 36. 3,600 without stands. You know, so and maybe the stands are a 900, so 4,600. You know, there's no reason to really have the Fisher and Fisher Kleins if you can fit the SN70s. So I don't even sell the Kleins. I just think spend a little more and get the SN70s and have way more of a speaker. The Kleins are super cute. They're almost like a novel, cute little speaker to have. If you've got them on your desk 3 feet from your ears, you know, then that's it. But you don't want to put them anywhere where they need stands. No freaking way. They're teeny, bro. They're like this, you know, like this and like that. They're teeny. So I don't even promote it. I'm not even going to make them. I'm not even going to have them make those things for me. You know, too much work for not enough profit. Cat monoblocks and panels. Convergent audio technology. Good stuff, I guess. I don't even know what is happening with it. Paul McGowan looked upon brand new sealed Infinity RS beta speakers in a warehouse. He even played them at an audio show. Would speakers that old hold up or need to be refurbished? I have no idea. It depends on how they've been stored. Byron, Paul spent 10 grand repairing the tweeters for those Infinities. Wow. Ouch. And that's at his price. How about naming it an Impotent Johnson? AIJ. ML3 monoblocks with avant-garde. What is this? Is this everything you got in your collection or something? Byron, if the Infinity speakers are new old stock, then nothing is needed. But Scott said they weren't new old stock. That's not necessarily true. If it's new old stock, and I don't know about which Infinities they were and what they have as surrounds, but if you have old speakers with foam surrounds, even if they've been in a bag and in a box the whole time, that foam over time with the glue that they use will just disintegrate, man. You'll turn it on the very first time and those things will just fall apart, you know, the foam. So it's not always that they, sometimes they can be intact, but typically old speakers are not a good idea, man, because they deteriorate. Hey, Mikey, the Magma M's are so incredible. I can't get enough. I know, dude. I know, brother. I mean, I've sold several pair. I just sold the pair that I wanted to keep for myself, man. Somebody called me up and I'm like, fuck, I got to sell them, man. I was like, but you know, hey, you know, it's a good sale. So I'm like, you know, and I'm committed to you guys before myself. So it's not, he upgraded IRSV. I did not hear him say the IRS betas were upgraded. They were sealed in storage. Yeah, which doesn't always matter. Yeah, I understand markup. I looked at the link and the amp and it looked exactly. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's real or not. I just looked interesting that I could buy on Ollie straight away. Got a great idea. Why don't you buy it and tell us how it is and how it showed up? It'll cost you $1,000, you know, and then you can report back to us, you know. I know that he made changes with them. And it's the chassis looks the same, but it does not mean that the amp is the same. And man, anytime it's on AliExpress and it's the Chinese selling to you, you don't know what you're going to get, man. I don't think you know what you're going to get. I don't think they give a shit to give you exactly what they advertise. But you can pick it up for $1,000, you know, just look at that. Look back at the link, add the tubes, and then add the shipping, and you'll see it's $1,000 per pair. What's the going rate of a new Fisher and Fisher? I already told you $3,600, and I didn't order any on this next thing. And like I said, I'm not going to promote it, and I probably won't sell it because I'm not going to have them spend their time making a little ass speaker when they can be making me 470s and 670s and 770s. So I'm not going to sell the Klein. I was just curious your thoughts. I'm not buying it, but I couldn't see any info on buying it from Alltech, dude. No, you have to call him. You have to call him, and then you can buy it from him. I showed you his card on my video, but he basically came to the show a little premature. He didn't understand really what was going to happen. He thought I'll show up and put my toe in the water, and he showed up and got his balls kicked because that's like what this industry does, right? But I've talked with him. He's a good guy. He's got good intentions for Alltech. He wants to bring, if you look at the speakers are made in New York. They're handmade in New York. Those cabinets are not Chinese cabinets. Are not. One of the drivers is Chinese, and the other two are European. But the cabinet is 100% made in USA, and he's going to change that driver. The first thing I told him is, dude, you want to get rid of all your Chinese shit, man. None of this stuff can be made. It's the fucking Alltech name, brother. You know, that's an American company, dude. You can't farm shit out to China. You can't. It'd be a travesty. So, and I said that to him right when I met him, and I found out when he said $3,500, I'm like, they're made in China. You know, you otherwise those things are 12 grand. So he will be getting rid of them. Those amps will not stick around. They'll be gone. How about money shot audio? facial audio, bukkake audio? We could start getting really bad with this. Byron, a video Paul made, he talked about how he spent $10K having all the tweeters rebuilt. That's crazy. That sucks. Thoughts on how the new and used audio products will be impacted with Trump tariffs? It won't at all. That's like something that people are using as fear, you know. Do you know how little import duty is? It's like 1%. On 100 grand import, I pay like $1,500. Who gives a shit? It's nothing. So what? They're gonna double tariffs. So now I pay $3,000 on 100 grand coming in. Big deal. It's not gonna change shit, brother. You know, it might do something with cars, or it's gonna change maybe the cheap. Like it's not gonna be just a blanket over everything. It's gonna be hand chosen shit that comes in from China. You know, is really what he's after. He's not after tube amps coming in from Serbia. He is after cheap shit coming in from China. He's going to kill the AliExpress thing. That AliExpress, like the conversation we just had, where you can go and buy direct from a Chinese amp manufacturer. That shit's going to be tariffed. That shit's going to get hit. And he's just not going to allow the Chinese to come in and underbid everybody else. And that's fucking great. I'm all for it. If I have to pay double for my fucking napkins or my plastic forks or whatever other shit comes from China, so be it. It's worth it, man. We got a big bunch of debt to pay off in this country. So if I have to pay more for shit, I'll pay more for shit. That's how I feel. I'm willing to do my job as an American and help pay off this debt, you know, however we do it, with whatever tariffs, taxes, whatever. You know, we got a mess to clean up. What's up, Mikey and Tribe? Salute. What's up from Oaktown, man? Good to see you. Look at this, man. Representing right here, brother. I got it right. Look at that, man. Look at that. Scott Clark, I saw it. It was for the IRSV. If you made a video about the IRS betas being upgraded, I missed it. Okay. Oh, I see as a smaller set as well. Okay. Mike, when a company discontinues a speaker without replacing it, does that mean poor sales? It can mean a lot of stuff. You know, it can mean we can't get that shit anymore. Like we can't get that driver anymore. We can't get the cabinet anymore. Our vendor stopped making it for that price, you know, and we would have had to mark it up to. It can be a bunch of other things. And one of them could be poor sales. Sure. I mean, that could be, it could be a myriad of things. About watches, audiophiles, mechanical watches match very good. In Europe, Rolex is a watch for criminals. Bad taste. Yeah, I agree, brother. There's a little bit of me that does not like Rolex, man. It's just such a flashy watch. And to me, it's like for every dude that doesn't know shit about watches but gets money and then they buy it. It's like a new money, but it's not new money though. And another way, I knew people that back in when I was growing up that were like trust fund kids that came from extremely wealthy families, and they all had Rolexes as kids. So it has got some heritage and history to it, but I get what you mean. Yeah, IWC, my brother has an Ingenieur, a titanium Ingenieur. And I like the Pilot watches. They're cool, but yeah, that's funny. Ducati Street Fighter. Oh, you got a Street Fighter and you got a Brutale 800. Are those new bikes or you had those all along? I'm getting the itch for a bike too, man. I'm looking at an Aprilia. But yeah, I got to get a track bike and then start hitting it up. I love stabbing those corners, bro. It's fucking awesome. Mikey, have you isolated your Puritan Audio Labs PSM 156 unit with anything? Isolated. What do you mean isolated? Oh yeah, I've got Robert's stuff under it. Yeah, I do have to check those stack audio things. I've got them sitting right there. As soon as my room is rebuilt, I'll be checking those stack audio. But yeah, normally my Puritan goes on Robert's stuff. I've got little those Robert's little mini stands under everything. I got it under my router. I've got it under the power supply for the router. Blah blah blaudio, blaudio, blah blah blaudio. That's funny. Peace Tribe members, Wisconsin in the house. What's up, Andy? Welcome, man. Scottyland. A good system will give you full audio. That's good. Somebody showed me a picture of a chugging Santa. I don't know what he was doing. He was like yelling or something like that, like he's singing, but he's like, and I was like, oh, that's a bad Santa statue. Zenith Pilot has a lot going for it. There's Zenith. Yeah. The jury's out for me. It is a good watch, but I again, I could get a whole bunch of those of $3,000, $4,000 watches. You could get like 30 of them, man. You know, you just have a shit ton of them, but none of them are real standout pieces. You know, I'd rather just get fewer wicked standout, more unique ones that you don't see all the time, that are harder to acquire and just cooler. You know, and I like the ones that are under the radar. Like this doesn't read like shit. Unless you know watches, this reads like, I mean, people probably think it's a Swiss Army watch or some shit, right? It doesn't read the way a Rolex reads, like a freaking signal beacon, you know? Yeah, it's, you know, and then people hold them up, you know? I was at a place last night and the dude was holding his wine glass with his Rolex up and you know, I'm just like, wow. And it was like gold and it was a sub, you know, nice watch. And they do show well. It looks like it has such an image associated with it. You know, the dude just looks like he's a rich dude. Mike, have you listened to Swiss company Goldman ever at High Shot? Yeah, Goldman is legit. Also very expensive. How good are cassette tapes actually? I've only ever listened to them as a kid on a crappy Sony Walkman. I guess they're all right if you use like a good deck, man, and you have a good recording, you know. What do you think about the Fleetwood DeVille SQ speakers? I don't know anything about them. As a dealer, do you ever give aesthetic feedback to manufacturers? I do. I'm jonesing for your beloved Playback Designs MPD Air MPD6, but boy, is that rib bulging case is hideous. I mean, what you're buying for look? You're gonna end up with some shitty sounding stuff, dude. If you buy for look, you are going to take it in the keister. You need to buy for sonic and forget how it looks, dude. What are you there for? Are you there to listen or are you there to look at audio gear? Buy art to look at. Buy audio to listen to. That's my recommendation to you. And if you can't afford an MPD or MPD6, the audio analog is cut from the same cloth, man. It's cut from the same cloth. It still sounds, they sound very similar. Hey, Mikey, what is PJ? And to answer your question about aesthetic feedback, yes, I helped AGD come up with their design. The very first one was too short and the tube was too tall. It looked top heavy. I was like, just make your chassis flatter and wider so it scales right with that size of tube. And he did it, man. I said, stagger your binding post so that when people want to put cables going straight down, they could, the way you have them right on top of each other means people have to come in from the side with their binding with their cables. So he staggered them on some of his stuff. He listened. I mean, I said make another one without the tubes because people think the tubes are kitschy. Make one without the tubes and make it more power and less expensive. And he did. Alberto was really good about. He totally just listened. He just did it, man. I mean, no questions, man. I've never seen anybody listen like that, and it was very successful, you know, and people really like. So it's fun for me to do that. But and yeah, I mean, some people make the silliest mistakes with their designs. They just they put just a hideous logo on the front, or they just fuck it up. And you're like, dude, you're not gonna, I mean, I get that you want to tell the world who you are, but you're better off doing it with design and not a silk screened logo, you know? Hey Mikey, what's PJ up to these days? Is he still selling knives? He never sold knives. He sells tactical bags like this. This is PJ's product right here. Bull Bag USA. Whoops. BULBAG. This is a tactical bag that you can have a concealed carry handgun inside here. It's got all sorts of shit and all sorts of zippers and things that you can carry. I use it when I travel. And you can put level 3A armor. It's got a zipper in the back, and you can slide a plate in here that's level 3A, and you can take this thing and throw it over your head, and it will be like a chest rig. You can put this on your shoulder, so you have a chest rig. So you got your handgun right here, and this thing's over your shoulder, or it can be a backpack. It can go around your waist and strap to your leg with this second strap that's down here. It can go around your leg. Super cool bag, man. That's what my brother sells, and he makes those things. Yeah. So I was with him last night. We were jamming. If you look at my video shorts, Mikey's on bongos. I'm playing bongos and congas, and the other guys are playing. There's a sax player, and PJ's playing bass. My cousin's playing. My nephew is playing drums, and he's just incredible. Fat Cat Audio. Yeah, totally. Opinion on the VTL pre and stereo power amp. Maybe not the price range you listen to. VTL is great stuff, man. I like the older VTL. You really get a lot for your money with VTL. I don't know how they are now, but I presume they just still go off the older designs, and I think they're probably solid. You don't talk about Meitner MA3 DAC much. Best $10,000 DAC. Yeah, the MA3 is, because the MA3 is not transparent. It is kind of a soft sounding DAC. So if your system is forward sounding, the MA3 will be it'll be good for like focal speakers, especially if you have focal with an amp that makes them a little forward. Perfect. I have an MA3 right now, brand freaking new, in black, with a streamer, with volume control. I'll sell for $8,000. I think it's a $12,000 unit. I'll sell it for $8,000. So somebody buy it. Comes with a full warranty. It's brand new. No-Tel Rotel. Here you go. Have you tried the smallest of the Fisher & Fisher with the external crossovers? Yeah, I have. It's called the Klein. But they're, what are you going to use them for? They're desk speakers. And for, another $900, you can get the SN70, which absolutely wipes wipes its ass with the Kleins. Do you have any advice to students that want to be the next Andrew Jones? I kind of regret I didn't consider speaker designer as a career path. I think I don't know that is a smart use of your time. You should go into computer science, most likely, or something to do with AI. That would probably be my recommendation. I don't really know what kind of new shit is going to ever be done with speakers. Eventually the speakers will be in our head, and it'll just vibrate our eardrum with some sort of little chip that's in our brain. There's not really advancements happening that I know of. And I don't know how solid your future would be with a speaker, but I would guess if you want to be the next Andrew Jones, get into audio engineering. You have to go to electrical engineering school, and then go to mechanical engineering and learn physics and shit like that. Take some physics courses. Mikey, what's your favorite mid-range speakers that you can buy separately? Dyne Audio 2-inch soft dome mid-range. At David, you got the new Magma M amplifiers. Congratulations. Yeah, he loves them, man. David loves those. What stands do you like for the SN70s? The factory stands. Mikey, what is the scoop on Liav Audio? I've never heard of it. The company came out of nowhere, and their Harmony DAC is being pumped hard by YouTubers. Great. It sounds like, what does that sound like to you? Look, just, we can probably take a really good guess about the value of it based on what you're telling me. You're basically saying it's a Jake Paul DAC, right? The YouTube influencers are talking about it. Oh, yeah? Well, what are they talking about? They're bullshit marketers. Look at the fight. Did you see the Tyson fight with Jake Paul? You know, I mean, it was like, you got taken. You realize this guy is just a fake with everything. He's all about faking it for YouTube. He's immensely popular, you know. But it's like it's empty. It's empty promises. Empty promises. Two girls, one audio. Woo! That one took it past Bukaki. Maybe you could not read opinions on VTL pre and stereo power amps. Not in your price range, I know, but still a good output transformer, I was told. Okay. So again, you can't. Good output transformer can be on a shitty design, right? So good output transformer doesn't tell us shit. When somebody says it's got a real good output transformer, it means they don't know shit about what they're talking about, because you can't pin it on one part of the design. It could be a shit design with a great output transformer, or you could have a freaking phenomenal design that has a mediocre output transformer. It all has to do with the circuit layout. That's the only thing that means anything. Circuit layout. Everything else doesn't mean shit. Okay, so that's the first thing to get through your head. Second of all, I said VTL is good. That's what I said. I don't know, what do you mean not in my price range? What is my price range? You know, define my price range. My price range, my products start at $2,500 and go up to $110,000. So I'm pretty sure VTL fits within that scope. It's good stuff. Aprilia 100%. I've had 2 V4 track bikes and they've both been amazing and reliable. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's a sick bike, man. And I want to get probably a Tuono, because the track bikes, you know, I'm not skinny enough with core strength strong enough to keep my arms loose on a track bike. You know what I mean? On the street. I'm going to have my weight on my fucking wrists on a track bike that's driven on the street. And that is not fun for me. It shouldn't be that way. That's not how you steer a super bike. You float on that bitch like a bird, and then you let the bike do everything. And you just give little inputs on turning and all that shit. But you basically float on top of that thing. The bike is doing all the work. But so I'll probably look at a Tuono. Street Fighter, like, that's cool. Like, I get it. It's more streetable. So, but I'd rather have, if I can find a hefty V-twin, you know, the Tuono now is still V4, right? Do they make a twin? I like twins. I love the mid-range power, but a V4 is pretty sick too. I did not like the V4 Multistrada. I have a V-twin Multistrada. I just love it. It sounds like a monster. It's got such a cool sound. Big Mike, I was always under the impression that switching mode power supplies are more susceptible to noise and do not handle power demands or transients well as linear power supplies. That is true for cheap switching mode power supplies, but not the wicked medical grade or NASA grade. Do you think they have toroids in the space shuttle? Let me just ask you that. Do you think there's toroids in a fighter jet? No. There's no toroids in a fighter jet. There's no toroids in the space shuttle. There's switching mode power supplies, and they're at a much higher level than anything that you find in regular, typical hi-fi. So a well-designed, wicked level, expensive switching mode power supply absolutely kicks ass on a linear power supply. It beats it in every way for power supply. Now, I don't like Class D is the same way with amplifiers. Class D in every way beats Class AB and Class A, but I don't like it as well. Like, I can hear the total difference between Class D and Class AB. I like the distortion. I like the body, the thickness, the feeling, the the organic nature of distortion. It's just something about it I like better. There's something too clean about Class D, most of it. It's just kind of just gets boring to me. And Mike, I did speak with Mark at the Dutch audio event. See my Daniel Hertz dealer in Zwolle, the Netherlands. I want to hear his M2 speaker. I live 30 kilometers from Zwolle. Yeah, so Zwolle is go see Cor Van Empel, man. He's a really good guy. It's 11 to 13K for the Zenith Pilot. Okay. That's cool. That's like in my range, basically. But Pilot watches are my favorite. Yeah, they're cool. Buy a Rolex if you want to be somebody. Buy a Casio if you are somebody. Yeah, right. Or what is the other? Yeah, the G-Shock. That's funny. Yeah, so it is kind of a wannabe watch. That's exactly what it is. It's like a wannabe kind of a thing. But you got to give it respect. It's a weird feeling I have about it. MPD cases look great to me. I wish I could afford them. Looks is secondary though. Always audio first. I agree. And you know what? It's like you grow to like it. Like I thought it was a weird look at first, but then you listen to it, and then you're like, okay, this is what badass audio looks like. This something that sounds like this is what the look. So it redefines what I think is beautiful based on how it sounds. It's just like what some of the maybe like a LaFerrari or something like that, right? You might look at it and go, oh, it's so square and whatever. It's just not pretty. It doesn't have any of the flowy lines of the older stuff. But maybe you drive it and then you're like, oh, it's so gorgeous, or something like that. Like many times you just drive it and then it changes your feeling. Harley's not the prettiest thing in the world, but when you ride one, you're like, psh, then you appreciate like how it looks like its heritage, its classic look, So, hey, Mikey, are you more of a solid state or tubes type of guy? I'm typically more of a solid state guy, but lately I got I got bit by a Nat Audio tubes, man. I put the tubes into my rig and I heard the bandwidth just go like pow, like holy shit. So I've got new speakers coming in. We'll have to see how they do with tubes versus solid state. But I go back and forth. So sometimes I don't want to mess with the tubes. And typically if solid state can do everything tubes can, then I like solid state better. It is easier to make a tube amp sound good or tube gear sound good than it is to make solid state. You really have to have very good solid state gear for it to sound as tasty as tubes do. But it can be done. But typically, now Fleetwood DeVille, I've got no idea. I got no idea. Never even heard them. Congos, Oscar, Conga, Bongos, Conga. Awesome, Mike. I'm friends with Nate Guido Hughes from the Rick James band. Nice, Rick James, bitch, and he's incredible on the congas. Yeah, man. I know it's a cool talent. I have the old VTL. Sweet, man. Thanks. I might need power tubes. Yeah, put new ones in, man. You'll get it. You'll hear a big difference. Zenith has the El Primero. Yep. 36,000 per hour. 3620. Yeah, I know. I've seen the El Primero. I looked at a Zenith. It was the Range Rover because I love the colors of it. But I was like, it's so stupid that it's a Range Rover collaboration. I don't drive a Range Rover, and I don't even know that I like them. But so I got stuck on it. Like, do I buy the watch because I freaking think it's cool and I like the way it looks and screw everything else because I'm just gonna wear it? But I got hung up on the fact that it's Range Rover. It's just like Range Rover. Stupid. Why do I want Range Rover on the back of my watch? Like you look at the rotor on back and it says Range Rover like engraved in there. I'm like, oh God, come on. But I know they're good stuff. They're definitely great watches. Jake, Paul, Dak, laugh my ass off. You know it, man. That's what it's oh great though. The YouTube guys are talking about it. You're kidding, really? What up, Mike? Have you ever heard stuff from Oswald Mill Audio? I haven't, but I've had my customers that have. Their speaker guy, Jonathan, seems pretty high-nosed. Yep, that's the feedback that I get, but likes to tell stories about some audio history in relation to their company. That's cool, whatever. Whatever. These guys have created their own thing. Devin Turnbull and Ohas has done a similar thing up in New York. I'm sure if I lived in Manhattan, I would get into art galleries. I would network just like I do anywhere I go. And I would also have a write-up in, some magazine, because New York City is like that, man. You're hobnobbing with people that are movers and shakers. And it's great for anybody's career to hang out in Manhattan for a while, a couple of years, and or more, and make connections. So I don't give these guys much more credence than they're in the right place, they're in the right soil for all they have to do is make kind of a cool product and network with the right people, and then that shit's going to be placed with certain individuals and in certain installs that will make you popular, So I think a lot of it has to do with being in the right place. Now, Oswald Mill Audio, if it were in Poughkeepsie, in or like Kentucky, Paducah, or something like that, he might not be shit, but I've heard different things. To me, my opinion of it is that it's functional sculpture. I don't take it serious as real high-end audio gear. I take it like it's functional sculpture. It's interesting stuff that looks cool, that also happens to play music, but it's not like anything I would take serious as really, where I wanted to get really picky about audio. I wanted to get very, can't think of the word I'm looking for. Critical. I was getting very critical about audio. It's not going to be my pick at all. The reps for VTL at hi-fi shows are the definition of the word snob. That sucks. That is unfortunate. What's his name? Luke Manley. He's a good guy, man. He's always been very friendly when I see him. Interesting. I just had a thought. Mikey, do you elevate your speaker cables off the floor? Sometimes. It doesn't really matter to me. Lendal transformers are great. They are. All Jeff Rowland uses them on all his gear, all the inputs. A designer simply told me a good tube power amplifier begins with the output transformer. That's true. That is true, but that's like, so it's a given, right? You can't have a shitty output transformer on a tube amp, but everybody knows that, except the Chinese. They're going to put cheap output transformers, but typically any European built tube amp is going to have a wicked output transformers. The Nat audios that I sell, incredible output transformers. They go up to like 100K flat, like this, like you just radio frequency, they're extremely high bandwidth, all the way down to a dead short. Tuono is a great track bike. Aprilia makes a twin, but it's a 660, not 1100. Yeah, I'd like to have a little more grunt. I don't want to be riding it up into the high RPMs. I like mid-range power. So the 1100 probably be the good one. But that 660s, dude's got to be flickable. That thing's got to be fun as hell to ride. I just like riding in the grunty mid-range area. Hey, Amrik, how much is the audio analog DAC? 5K. That's it, and it's got a volume control, so you don't need a preamp if you're all digital. A lot of 660s on the track, though. People love them. Of course, it's a great size, man. They're totally flickable and light. What a fun bike to ride. The Triumph 6, what is that, a 6? It's also a 660, isn't it? The Triumph? 600 Daytona, 660 Daytona. I can't think of it, but the Triumph is also a great midweight, sport bike. High Vigra. Class D needs a tube front end to fix the sound. Dude, I've got an amp in my closet I could show you that I made 15 years ago with Class D with the tube on front. It's unbelievable. Like, who hasn't done it? I did it 10, 12 years ago. I wish it had a date on it. I could probably find the emails when I was designing it. I had it's funny that you mentioned VTL because the guy I hired, a tube amp designer that did the VTL early VTL amps, to help me design the front end on it, and I hooked it to a Bang& Olufsen um, ASX 250 ASX2 module. Thing sounds killer. Depending on the tube, it could sound plain or it can sound stellar depending on what tube you put in. Yes, Chinese will change parts. They do. Yeah. No, someone got a kinky audio and the capacitors were changed to some cheap non-audiophile caps. He knew his shit and luckily was able to send it back. That's exactly what they do. If they're out of parts, they do not stop the assembly line. They just substitute some parts and don't tell your ass. It's the way it works, man. They call it free enterprise. Do you ever ride a trike, dude? No, I don't. My mom is getting older, so she sold her Road King and got a trike. Well, that makes sense. She's 73 and she's a mom. I rode it. I didn't realize I was going to like it as much as I did. Fun to corner and just overall relaxing. Okay, I'll tell you why the only reason I would like a trike, if anything, is that I could drink a drink and smoke a cigar, and just I'd put a shield on it, and then you can just like set the cruise control. You have a drink in your drink holder. You're smoking a stogie. You don't have to pay attention almost, but it's just such a goofy looking thing. If a grandma was on it, that's fine, and your mom probably would at 73 would pass as, and I'm not, dissing on her, but it's an older woman, man. That's totally cool. But I wouldn't ride on a trike. If I was going to ride on a trike, it would be one of those razor things. What are those things called? Those crazy ass Vauxhall. They have 2 wheels up front and a third on back. That's the kind of trike. It's like a little car thing. T-Rex, whatever, those look crazy ass hot rod GSXR 1000 things that have the single car tire in the back and the 2 tires up front. Like that kind of a trike I might ride, but not the Harley trike. Unless I was an old dude. If I was 70, over in my 70s, and I couldn't hold up a bike, and I was worried I was going to fall over, then maybe I'd do it just to get out there. Any word on new 6 Series amp from Jeff Rowland? No. Sick and Black. He doesn't do that. Yeah, I know. It would be cool. You think YouTube is bad for speaker setups? You should see how headphones and IEMs are. My Lord, shill city, of course. Just crazy. Trying to find a good headphone is swimming in a sea of shill. Yeah, I suppose, man. I don't even engage in the headphone at all. This is the last year for gas-powered Bentleys. Oh, my God. That's unbelievable. Unreal, dude. Time to buy your guzzlers right now, man. Unbelievable, dude. That's lame. The same dude. Did anybody see Jaguar change their logo? They took the leaper out of the logo. Oh my God. They ruined it. They absolutely ruined it. I don't know what Jaguar is doing, but they're ruining the freaking brand. Mikey, what is the scoop with cryo treatments? It takes away the stresses of the metal, of the manufacturing process. Anytime you pull something through a die, or you bend it in a brake, or you mold it and press it and squeeze it, you get stresses in the metal. By freezing it and warming it back up, you relieve those stresses. And in the case of steel, you release martensite, it makes it stronger. So it's like you can use it on all sorts of audio stuff if you do it the right way. There's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. I look tired. I am tired, brother. It's been 2 hours, and I was on a motorcycle ride most of the day, and I don't really feel like doing this. I do this because I promise you guys to give you my time. But if I had my choice, dude, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of this thing talking about hi-fi. I'd be kicked back in my bed with my feet up in front of an 80-inch, OLED Sony XBR, having some tea or something like that. Triumph is a 675. There you go. I have one. X-Moto America race bike, one Mid-Ohio. Right. KTM Super Duke may be good for them for mid-range grunt. They're fast but ugly. Totally ugly, bro. I can't ride a bike that looks like a praying mantis. They're way too ugly. And I looked at KTM because what a solid bike. But the RC8, man, or the do they have one? They might have an RC4. The RC8 looks sick. But yeah, they are fugly. And I've got a 1260 multi-strata S. And so I've got my Super Duke, you know. Good night, Tribers. Good night, man. I'm about out of here in 10 minutes. I'm going to give you guys 10 more minutes. Slingshot. Yeah, one of those things. That's the trike I'd ride. PS Audio does tube input stage and MOSFET output stage on their Stellar M1200, BHK, and 300 BHK 600. That's silly. That's old school. You don't need a tube input stage on a MOSFET output stage. I don't know. I think that's silly. I never liked that. The little old lady from Pasadena. Go, Granny. Go, Granny. Go. Yeah, exactly. Good night, Danny. Jaguar is a disgrace. I know. They will go broke. No one likes that crap. I do. They try and force it down our throats. Evidently, they didn't get the memo. Yeah, exactly. But the F-Type R is fucking sick. Okay? I might end up getting one of those cars. 575 horsepower for 50 grand. You know, with 2 seats and a convertible top like that and all-wheel drive. Fucking sick, bro. That's a good car. Everything else is stupid. They should have never gone into SUVs. They should have never gone into SUVs. They got Range Rover in part of their group. They could have just left the SUVs to Range Rover. They got the stupid F-Pace, and it's like, and then they just changed and fucked it up, man. It's like they don't even have a big sedan right now. Can you believe that? Like Jaguar was built on the big fucking luxury sedan, and they don't even have one right now. Fucking ridiculous. Idiots. Vanderhalls are cool. They are cool. My buddy rented one in Vegas. It was kind of a pile of shit because it was a prototype, but it gets a lot of attention on the road. I don't care about attention, but if it hauls ass and like makes you squeal, that's great, man. It's got to be scary. You know, it should be somewhat scary. It's got to be. I'm resigning my tribe. Mike does not answer my Mike Levinson question. I've spoken with Mark. Mike is an old school salesman. Want to sail Fisher and Fisher in his deck. Yeah. Well, what else do you think? What was your Mark Levinson question? You didn't ask a Mark Levinson question. You said you met him. You said, what you said was, I met Mark Levinson at the show, and he told me to go see my guy in Zola, and I live 30 miles from Zola. That's what you said. And I said, go see Cor Van Empel. I answered your question. So I don't know what you're high on, dude. Fucking take a chill pill. You need a Valium. Jaguar is getting roasted on Twitter for their new commercial. Their commercial features gender fluid models with no car. Oh, puke. Disgusting. So jacked up, man. I'll stick with my damn Volvo. Nice. Go sleep, Mikey. You don't need to be here. I know. I will. Have a great night, everybody. Get some. Go woke, go broke. Big time. They didn't weren't. Moto Guzzi Le Mans 2 and a Bimota SBR 8. Yeah, we were on. We had a Moto Guzzi today in the group. Moto Guzzi doesn't have enough power for me. Bimota would be. And is that Bimota built on a TLR engine, or is it a Ducati? I like the Bimotas that are made out of Ducatis. Get sleep, absolutely. See you. Yeah. All right, everybody. I'm leaving. I'm going to get some sleep. Thanks everybody for joining. I will see you on Wednesday. Wait, Wednesday I might be able to do my live stream from the phone. I'll see if I can. I'm going to be out of here. Anyways, thank you all. See you all later. See you on Wednesday. Cheers.